ya kwamba wamemalizwa wote, ni mimi tu nimebaki. Lakini neno linasema ya kwamba Bwana akamwambia Elijah ya kwamba nimejihifadhia. Hata siku hii ya leo kama nchi ya Kenya, ninajua kwamba Bwana amejihifadhia wake waaminifu katika jina la Yesu. Na ndiposa kwa umbali huu hatujaweza kuangamizwa. Biblia inasema ya kwamba asingalikuwa Bwana aliyekuwa upande wetu, tungalimalizwa. Wacha niseme ya kwamba kwa sababu ya hali ambayo imekuta nchi ya Kenya, kwa sababu ya hali ambayo imetukuta, nitangaze kama Israeli, asingalikuwa Bwana aliyekuwa upande wetu kama wana wa Kenya, asingalikuwa Bwana aliyekuwa pamoja na sisi kama wana wa nchi ya Kenya, wacha nitangaze ya kwamba tungemalizwa. Tumeona wengi wameangamizwa katika nchi tofauti. Tumeona wengi wamemalizwa na ugonjwa huu ambao unaitwa corona. Tunaona wengi wameangamizwa na tunaona ya kwamba hata jamii nyingi zimeisha. Lakini tunamshukuru Bwana jioni ya leo kwa sababu katika nchi ya Kenya kuna watu ambao walipatikana kusimama kwenye mwanya. Neno la Mungu linasema Ezekieli 22:30 ya kwamba Bwana aliangalia kutoka juu iposa aone kama kuna mmoja ambaye amesimama kwenye mwanya. Na ninashukuru Mungu kwa sababu kwa nchi ya Kenya unasimama kwenye mwanya, na ninataka kusema ya kwamba Bwana akubariki na Bwana azidi kukuinua katika jina la Yesu. Maana ninaamini ya kwamba rehema za Bwana zimetufikisha wakati huu. Siku moja kulingana na neno ambalo tumesoma, kulikuwa siku ambayo ilikuwa inadetermine ya kwamba kuna mtu angeangamia. Na neno la Mungu linasema ya kwamba lakini usiku huo mfalme hakupata uzingizi. Kuna usiku ambao hukuta kila mmoja. Na kama nchi ya Kenya tumeona usiku wetu kwa sababu tumeexperience mambo tofauti. Nayo Biblia inasema ya kwamba usiku huja, lakini asubuhi pia ikikuja inabadilisha mambo yote ambao ulikuwa umepitia usiku katika jina la Yesu. Ninataka kusema ya kwamba kuna asubuhi ambayo inakuja na mfalme atatukumbuka ambaye ni Bwana, na mambo yatarejeshwa kawaida. Ninakutia moyo mahali ulipo, ninatangaza ya kwamba mambo yanarejea kawaida. Inua imani yako tuombe. Baba, katika jina la Yesu nakushukuru kwa sababu mfalme uishie milele. Kama Kenya umetupatia nafasi ya kusimama, na ninashukuru kwa sababu ya watumishi wako. Nataka kukuinua na kukubariki. Hakuna kama wewe Bwana, uishie milele. Hata unapotukumbuka tena, na wainua watumishi wako mikononi mwako. Na ni kwa jina la Yesu Kristo mwana wa Mungu aliye hai tumeomba na kuamini. Amen.
Naishi Kawangware stage 2. Nilikuwa nasomea primary school, ilikuwa inaitwa Emmanuel Glory Academy. Sikuwa naona kama naweza join high school, but my teachers waliniambia kama kwenye hamujiwezi kujoin high school, sasa mkiwork hard class tutawasaidia kujoin program ya Wings to Fly. I worked hard and I got scholarship. I was able to be among the chosen few. Form 2 tumeingia hivi, term ya kwanza walilipia. Sasa kukatokea na hii pandemic ya coronavirus, wakatuambia tukuje home. Mtu kama mimi sasa nilianza kushtuka. Sasa nikasema nitasoma aje sasa? Wings to Fly program ikaleta hizi radio, na sola zitusaidie kuniwezesha kuendelea kusoma hata kama ni usiku. Equity huwa wanatupatia pesa kidogo ya mahitaji hapa nyumbani. Saa zingine nakanga tu chini naambia Mungu asante kwa kunisaidia nilijoin hii program. Najua naweza achieve dream yangu siku moja to become a lawyer. But kasi wings to fly, singeweza kufika hapa hata kwenye nipo.
Kiswahili for form 2 coming up right now, and then biology.
Good afternoon. At the top of the hour, on the date that is November 2020, I'm Regina Manyara. You're watching KBC Channel 1. This is a lunchtime news, a day that the world is focused on America in regard to what direction the American voter is going to take. Is it going to be incumbent Donald Trump or Joe Biden there? These are the latest reports as it stands. 264 electoral votes to Joe Biden, while incumbent President Donald Trump is at 214. Most non-Americans have been asking themselves the question then, why the 264, why the 214? Well, America happens to be the only country in the world that uses this particular electoral system, and this is the electoral colleges system. The first time that, America wanted to overturn the system was way back in 1816, but the South still maintained this particular system. Currently, this is how it looks like, and it's a head-to-head, unlike what the polls and projections had for this particular race. This is appearing and is turning out to a neck-to-neck kind of race between the incumbent president, that is Donald Trump, and Joe Biden of the Democratic Party there. With those are the statistics currently. But now there's a question of the swing states. There's been a lot of talk as to what and who is going to clinch the 270 electoral votes that are required to be, to clinch the presidency in the U.S. elections there. And now we have a matter of the swing states. The swing states in question are Georgia there. Sorry about that. It seems the world has its mind of its own there. We have Georgia there that has 16 electoral votes, while Nevada has 6 votes. North Carolina with 15 electoral votes. Pennsylvania there, 20 electoral votes. Arizona, 11 electoral votes, and Florida, 29 electoral votes. Well, Florida already called it for President Donald Trump, the incumbent there, at 51.2%, and that was yesterday. What is still ongoing in terms of the counting, the voting process is still ongoing. We have Arizona already called for Joe Biden, their Democratic Party ticket. Then we have the question of Pennsylvania. This is something that we really need to keenly focus on, because as it looks is that incumbent Donald Trump is already seeking a legal out in regards to the counting process down in Pennsylvania. Now, questions have been asked, why have we been stagnating at 264 and 214 since morning? Well, for Biden, as it is, if I can take you back to the 264, he's currently ahead in Nevada, requiring only 6 electoral votes. So if he wins in Nevada, then it means it's game shot. He takes it, because he's currently at 264 out of a possible 270 that is required to clinch the presidency in this particular race. Now, we have been keenly focusing on what is happening in America with our reporters, just following that and just looking at history and what this portends, especially for not just Africa, but also the world in general. Remember, the saying is, if the United States indeed catches a cold or rather sneezes, the rest of the world does catch a cold. We'll be giving you details in regard to that, and a reporter has been prepared now by reporter Jacqueline Wambiro gives more details into this particular story, where the U.S. President Donald Trump has mounted a legal challenge in key states of Wisconsin, Georgia, Pennsylvania, and Michigan, challenging electoral irregularities. Trump is alleging serious malpractices in the exercise that has seen Democratic candidate Joe Biden move closer to the 270 college votes required to clinch the presidency.
The race for the White House has slowed down in the last few hours as vote counting in battleground states continues. The Trump campaign is challenging vote counts in key states of Wisconsin, Georgia, Pennsylvania, and Michigan. Biden stopped short of declaring he had won the poll, saying he was confident he was on course to defeat Trump.
And now, after a long night of counting, it's clear that we're winning enough states to reach 270 electoral votes needed to win the presidency. I'm not here to declare that we've won, but I am here to report when the count is finished, we believe we will be the winners.
As ballot tabulation in the battleground states continued, there has been growing protest over the conduct of the historic poll. In Portland, Oregon, the National Guard were activated after an anti-Trump protest calling for every vote to be counted turned violent. Meanwhile, in Minneapolis, police made arrests after about 200 demonstrators blocked a main road. Similar protests were also reported in New York, Philadelphia, and Chicago. In Detroit, pro-Trump supporters gathered outside a vote counting center demanding that vote counting be stopped. A vote counting center in Maricopa County, Arizona found itself grappling with the dilemma of whether to pause work and close after a crowd of Republican supporters gathered outside, responding to claims on social media that votes likely to be for Trump would not be counted. Republicans have retained their grip on the Senate, which leaves Congress mostly unchanged, despite Democrats' hope of wresting 4 seats from their opponents. Overall turnout in Tuesday's election was projected to be the highest in 120 years at 66.9%, according to the U.S. Election Project. Biden had the support of 70.5 million voters, the most won by any presidential candidate ever. Trump, on the other hand, pulled in 67.2 million votes, 4 million more than he gained in 2016. Reporting for Channel 1 News, I'm Jackie Wambiru.
Away from the international scene, we bring you back at home and looking at matters of the legislature. Now, we have the leader of Majority Senate, Pogesho Aliya, was addressing the press. Now we want to hear from other members there live at Parliament.
KBC has brought in the aspect of the ombudsman, and I want to challenge my colleagues who are opposing this document, purporting that this document is coming to weaken institutions. Let us be true to Kenyans. We are in a position of responsibility. Let us not misguide our people. Let us not lie to our people. Let's tell our people the truth. The judicial ombudsman is a process of is an institution where mwananchi anaweza kupeleka complaint yake. Saa hii mwananchi akiwa na complaint ya judiciary hana popote ya kupeleka complaint yake. And why I'd said BBI is looking at a cross-section of issues. The current constitution has given us rights as citizens. But BBI has also come up with responsibilities as citizens. That's why I'm saying this document has looked at a cross-section of issues, from personal to institutions. It is actually strengthening institutions to work better. So I would like to, from my point of view, urge not just the pastoralist communities, but to urge Kenyans. This is the best document that we'll have, and it is not the end. Let us have this document for another 5 years, another 10 years. Let us come and say, this place was not good. Let us amend. There's no problem to it. Kenya is not ending tomorrow. We can have an opportunity another time to do other amendments. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Is live pictures from Parliamentary, where a section of MPs representing pastoralist communities have dismissed their counterparts who claim that the BBI report does not accommodate their interests there. They were led by Senate Majority Leader Samuel Pogisio in that. They say that they have confidence in the proposals in the BBI, including the increased county allocation, which will improve the lives of pastoralists. Our reporter Kevin Washira will be preparing a detailed report for the bulletins late in the day there at 7 p.m. and 9 p.m. Now we cross over to other stories making headlines, where health workers from Marural Referral Hospital have downed their tools demanding better working conditions at the hospital. Now led by the hospital medical superintendent, Dr. Ezra Lekenit, the health workers want county governments to pay their COVID-19 risk allowances as well as establish a proper supply of food and cleaning items at the hospital.
Business at Marural Town came to a standstill for almost an hour as workers from the Marural Referral Hospital took to the streets to protest poor working conditions at the facility.
And health services in general have deteriorated significantly during this devolution era, and especially during the last 3 years.
Led by the hospital medical superintendent, Dr. Ezra Lekenit, the workers called on the county government to pay health workers their COVID-19 risk allowances, as well as the contractors.
Health is an essential service for everyone. And all of us, whether governor, whether CEC, whether the street boy, we are all potential patients in this facility. Therefore, the health department must be given the seriousness and the priority it deserves.
Dr. Lekenit, who recently resigned following alleged irregularities at the hospital, added there was no proper supply of food and cleaning items at the hospital.
So supplies for the hospital must be paid and cleared with so that the hospital gets an uninterrupted flow of supplies. Let us deal with other problems, but not issues of food with patients or cleaning material in a hospital.
However, the county's executive committee member for health, Stephen Lekupe, said the county government is already addressing health workers' grievances.
Tumepokea all your cries na tutashirikiana tuhakikishe tumepata suluhu mwafaka. Hile tunawaomba kwa dhati, don't down your tools. We need you.
The CEC further said it is the national government tasked with paying COVID-19 risk allowances to health workers and not the county government as alleged. For Channel 1 News, I am Emily K. Bade.
Now, still keeping up with matters of COVID-19 is that, and just 24 hours after the president issued an address, we are on a spot check in regard to the adherence of health protocols, especially within the Nairobi metropolitan area. And our reporter Nancy Okware is at Bus Station to just give us up, or rather bring us up to speed as to what is happening on ground in light of, health protocols during this second wave of the COVID-19 pandemic. Good afternoon, Nancy Okware.
Well, a very good afternoon to you, Regina Manyara Gitau, back at the broadcasting house. Indeed, we are coming to you live from the bus station right here in Nairobi County, just getting a feel of how things are in terms of adherence to COVID-19 guidelines. Remember that yesterday, President Uhuru Kenyatta made his 13th address to the country on COVID-19. And of course, he escalated some of the measures, including extending the curfew hours and of course, extending the days up to 2021. And he also introduced the no mask, no service, campaign that is geared towards ensuring that Kenyans are actually donning masks in a bid to stem the spread of COVID-19, given that the numbers in the country are on an upward trajectory. Now we will be speaking to a number of Kenyans just to understand what they think about the guidelines that were extended, especially on the wearing of masks, whereby you're not supposed to serve anyone who is not wearing a mask. Pengine karibu sana, zungumza nasi kuhusiana na agizo la Rais Uhuru Kenyatta kuhusiana na kuvalia barakoa. Kwanza kabisa tueleze jina lako na kauli yako kuhusiana na kutohudumia mtu yeyote ambaye hajavalia barakoa.
Okay, asante sana. Kwa majina naitwa Dennis Owino. Mimi nafanya kazi ya viatu hapa bus station. Enyewe ni mzuri, president alituambia tuvae mask. Na si lazima uambiwe uvae mask. Wewe mwenyewe unafaa unaona ya kwamba ni mzuri kuvaa mask. Hata mimi mwenyewe customer hawezi kuja hapa na akae kama hana mask ni muhudumie. Si mzuri hata kidogo.
Na pengine kuna wale ambao wanakuja na wanasema ya kwamba hawatavalia barakoa. Wateja kama hao unafanyaje kizingatiwa kwamba vile vile unahitaji zile pesa?
Pesa si ya maana kushinda maisha. Maisha ndio ya maana. So siwezi angalia pesa na nikose kuangalia maisha yangu. Kila customer anayekaa hapa chini lazima ni make sure mask yake iko sawa. Ndio kuna wale wanakuambia ati hakuna corona, na unajua binadamu ni wale wako na mawazo tofauti.
Asante. Asante sana kwa maoni yako, na bila shaka tutakuwa tunazungumza tu na Mkenya mwingine kuhusiana na kuvalia kwa barakoa. Na bila shaka acha tu tuangalie hapa mbele kidogo. There are so many business activities that are ongoing right here at the bus station. We will be speaking to one of the traders here just to get a feel on how they are handling this situation during these difficult times. Tueleze jina lako na utueleze maoni yako kuhusiana na agizo la Rais Uhuru Kenyatta kuhusiana na kuvalia barakoa na kutohudumia yeyote ambaye hajavalia barakoa.
Hapa CBD mambo naona iko sawa sawa, naona watu wamejaribu kufuata sheria, na mimi kama kwangu kwa duka customer wote wanakuja bila kufaa, na jaribu kuwaongea na wao, na waambia jaribu at least kufuata hii sheria ndio at least huyu ugonjwa ujaribu uweze kuisha. Na tunaomba hata wale wako kwa serikali wakienda hata hii mikutano at least hata wao wajaribu kufuata hii sheria ndio hii ugonjwa iishe.
Na jana Rais Uhuru Kenyatta akasema ya kwamba ikiwa mteja hajavalia barakoa basi hakuna huduma. Wakati ule ambao pengine huna wateja wengi kwa siku na kuna mteja pengine mmoja ambaye amekuja na hajavalia barakoa na unahitaji zile fedha, pengine hali kama hiyo unaichukulia vipi?
Pale siwezi sema ni kose kumuuzia mpaka nimhudumie, lakini namwambia kesho ajaribu kufuata sheria, lakini siwezi washa kosa kumuuzia mpaka nimuuzie, lakini muelezee afuate sheria kulingana na serikali inatuambia.
Asante sana kwa kauli yako. Tunashukuru kwa kuzungumza na KBC Channel 1. Yes, there you have it, Regina. We've been speaking to a number of Kenyans in terms of adherence to the COVID-19 guidelines. Earlier on, we were at the country bus where we were looking at how the matatu operators are coping with this directive. A number of them were actually ensuring that people were wearing the masks before getting into the vehicles. But other passengers, once they were on board, they turned the masks into chin guards. So it means that there's a lot that needs to be done in terms of ensuring that Kenyans indeed adhere to these COVID-19 regulations. We will continue keeping an eye on what is going on here in Nairobi. We will visit a number of markets to see how things are right there. But for now, I hand it back to you at the broadcasting house.
Nancy, but before that, a spot check in as far as adherence to the health protocols are concerned. And I really like the honesty from one of those people that you interviewed down there when she said that she might not just let go of that business, but will take time to advise an individual who comes to her stall to purchase something and they do not have a mask on to next time have that particular mask on. On that note, no mask, no service campaign. We take a short break, but in return, we're still going to be keeping focus on stories that are making headlines locally, regionally, and internationally. Do not go away.
Program ikaleta hizi radio na sola zitusaidia kuniwezesha kuendelea kusoma hata kama ni usiku.
Next on.
I want to see you with that woman never again.
Always loved you truly, but you've never wanted to see that, baby.
It's for me. Ramon.
Kasi wings to fly, singeweza kufika hapa hata penye nipo.
The road to the 2021 Africa Cup of Nations brings us home to another exciting qualifier where Harambee Stars host the Colasantes of Comoros Wednesday, the 11th of November at Kasarani.
And that goal! And it is a goal! Coming on exactly 34 minutes, Johanna Omolo.
Watch it live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1 at 7 p.m. as we continue to showcase Africa's best on your true sports partner.
Tonight on KBC Channel 1.
Do you think it is wise moving from one boxer to another one? Eish.
Nataka ukweli ujulikane.
Kwa nini sahi?
Mtoto wangu ananitafuta.
You could clean tables all your life, or you could advance to better things. Swali ni, nini ingine unaweza fanya?
Everything that woman does, she does it for you.
Shughuli hapa ghetto si survive. Mtu kwa kikucheki hivi anasema umekaa ghetto miaka yako yote.
Kuna mavitu ananiambia tu nimfanyie mavitu fani hivi.
Sofia, unafanya nini na Abasi?
This weekend on KBC Channel 1.
This week on Wake Up and Makeup, we are celebrating grandmothers.
I'll take you to another version. I'll just promote you from kindergarten
to university.
Yes, direct.
Nimefanyiwa massage, mkiniona hapa mimi si ule mnajua. Inang'ara kabisa.
Now you have to just rub it until you feel like the product is he's going to be telling us more about what are some of the issues ladies above their 50s go through. Thank you so much for coming, Dr. Amit.
Awesome, it's a pleasure, Christine.
That time where you and I have been waiting for. Don't forget to watch this episode only on Wake Up and Makeup.
This weekend on KBC Channel 1.
Wow! Congratulations, Atito. You know, I've always wanted to put on nanga, put on makeup. You know, things like those.
Very good thing. Atito, my friend. I thought you'll never find love after that, Joanne.
Please leave Jaber out of this.
Okay, now I get this. You are married and you still have unresolved issues.
Julia, read me alone, okay? Laugh if you must. Laugh, eh? Hata ukitaka kupiga duru, piga. Just don't let me see a fool in front of me.
Kinyanju, you said I'm laughing. Okay, you people are so unfair. Why does everybody think that I do not care what happened to you guys?
Guess who the celebrity is? Atito.
Not yet, teacher.
Classmates, every Saturday on KBC.
Good afternoon. You're watching the lunchtime news here on KBC Channel 1. I'm Regina Manyara. Glad to have you on board. Now, Kenya's special envoy to South Sudan, Kalonzo Musyoka, has called for the first tracking of the completion of the Juba-Kopotea Road to connect South Sudan to Kenya and boost trade ties. He was speaking at the National Dialogue Conference in Juba.
Kenya's special envoy to South Sudan, Kalonzo Musyoka, attended the National Dialogue Conference held at the Freedom Hall in Juba. Kalonzo using the platform to call for a speedy completion of the Juba-Torit-Kapoeta-Nidapal single carriage road, which he says carries the potential to expand South Sudan's economy by opening the oil market potential that rests in the south to the rest of the world.
We just want to be able to make the connection between Juba and our port of Lamu, as President Salva Kiir actually participated along with President Kibaki. So we give you an outlet I'm told there's a lot more oil on the southern side than to the north, to Port Sudan. And you cannot therefore pump all the oil from this wonderful, resource-rich country up through Port Sudan all the time. Some of it you can pump through Lamu. My keep on dreaming and praying that the road from Juba to Kapota will be done expeditiously.
The 365-kilometer road, whose construction was launched in 2012 under the Kibaki administration, will connect Sudan to the Kenyan border of Nadapal, making it the gateway to the Lamu port and the rest of the world. Kalonzo says that this road will also enhance trade and socio-economic development in the region. The National Dialogue Conference, which is expected to end on the 15th of November 2020, seeks to address governance systems, economy, national security, land issues, and social cohesion among South Sudanese.
Now, from the youngest country in the African continent, we bring you back home and specifically to Uhuru Park, where our reporter Caroline Kamau has been on ground just monitoring what is happening with the health workers' strike. Good afternoon, Carol.
A very good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Caroline Kamau. Regina, as you rightfully said, I'm at Uhuru Park, and for the second day this week, health workers are out here in the streets, still trying to push the government for promotions and redesignation on a strike. That is health workers under the Ministry of Health. They started a strike on the 29th of last month. Have they made any headway through the negotiations with the ministry? I will invite George Kibore to the set. He is the Secretary General, Kenya Union of Clinical Officers. George Kibore, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Caroline, for having me.
All right. So you started a strike on the 29th of this month. Yes. Services have been paralyzed in most public hospitals. Have you made any headway so far? How is it looking like at the negotiation table?
Caroline, thank you for that question. I need to be very specific that indeed, as we are talking, the health workers, all the healthcare cadres who are under the Ministry of Health are on strike. And the facilities that have been affected are Madare Hospital, Spinal Hospital, Spinal Injury Hospital. We have all the the JKIA, all the ports of entry. All those have been affected. Unfortunately, since 2019, we have had one meeting with the ministry, and they promised that as per yesterday, they were to be able either to communicate that they are ready to issue the letters of promotion. But up to date, as we are talking here today, nothing has forthcome yet, and we haven't heard from them. We will be dispatching our leaders at Trace to try and reach out to them, because it's not our celebration to be on strike. It is unfortunate. The issues of promotion and the redesignation has been there all along, including we have had several agreements with them that this is how they need to implement the promotion and the redesignation for the healthcare workers, but they have not. And you must get to understand that the issues of promotion affect healthcare workers in different ways. That's to mean if you were not promoted as it's supposed to be, during when you are actually retiring, it will be affecting your pension scheme. That's to mean you will retire lower job groups than how you are supposed to be. And there is clear policies, including the Public Service Commission HR manual, that provide on how people are supposed to be promoted for those which are under the common cadres, and the date of the effective date of promotion, and for those which are above those job groups. And therefore, if this one doesn't happen, our healthcare workers are so much demotivated and are not willing to continue working because the promises have not been forthcoming all through.
The talk has been about, of course, the strike has been pushed by the issue of promotions, and I think Kenyans are wondering, why should we care as Kenyans? Why is it important for these health workers to be promoted, to be redesignated? Why should we care as Kenyans?
Yeah, as I've said, the issues of promotion affect the social welfare of all employees. For those who knows that once you have been employed, there is an entry job group, then there is common cadres where the effective date is after you qualify. That is to mean, like currently since 2016, the first entry job group is 1 year. So that's to mean you'll be promoted to the next job group. Then the next job group again you are promoted. But unfortunately it's not happening. And once it is delayed, what normally happen under the normal practice of the policies that have been provided is that they need to backdate. Now the ministry is not willing to backdate because now they know that that's to mean that they will have to pay if there is any increment that was supposed to have happened on your promotion. Now the issues of redesignation. Majority of these healthcare workers were employed as the general practitioner. Now they have specialized. And once they have specialized, that's to mean they have attained more qualification that they offer different job group, which is specialized. So that one need to be provided under their file so that even if someone is taken to medical legal issues, you are not to be presumed to be masquerading. So they must be able to be taken to that so that it is in tandem with what you have trained in, with what you specialize and what you practice, so that it is in file. And that's to mean that now you are taken in a higher job group and which is agrees and provide for your job description. Yes.
There has been incessant strikes since, devolution came on board. And you've been pushing, of course, for the Health Commission. Just talk a little about that as we bring this to a close because of time, why this is important and why you want it included in the BBI report.
That is very important because now you can see the current wave of the BBI. And we have said, since the devolution in 2013, it should be remembered that before devolution, the healthcare workers went on strike and they were calling to have a commission that can look into the human resource issues for all the healthcare workers. Now, because they did not have that chance, and again we have the BBI issue, we are asking that the ministry, the state under this country must provide for the healthcare workers to have a health service commission where all our issues for health workers must be considered and they be looked at wholesomely rather than the way it has been discriminative and other counties considering promotion and others do not. And that's why we are saying that this will bring to an end these issues of strike.
Kibore, thank you so much for your time. I will cut you short, but this is a conversation that will certainly continue.
Thank you very much, Caroline, for having me on Channel 1.
All right, thank you so much. That was George Kibore, the Secretary General for Kenya Union of Clinical Officers. Back to you, Regina. A raft of issues that they've raised there, and of course we'll be highlighting this in our subsequent bulletins. Back to you in studio.
Thank you very much, Caroline, for that update. Day 2 of the strike by health workers. Now, still keeping up with what is happening within the health sector is that as the numbers of the COVID-19 cases continue to climb, leaders are appealing to the government to ensure that all learners are protected from the deadly virus. Testa North MP Oku Kaunya says that there is need to carry out mass testing in all schools to ascertain the prevalence of the virus.
Testa North Member of Parliament Oku Kaunya argues that all students ought to have been tested for coronavirus before resuming school, as the few who may have been positive could be spreading the virus. The lawmaker spoke amid growing concerns that schools may soon turn into COVID-19 hotspots.
Na tungetaka serikali kuu na serikali ya kaunti ijichukulie hasa wizara ya afya katika national government na county government waweze kupima watoto wote ambayo wako kwa mashule na walimu ili tuweze kujua hali yao na waweze kuangaliwa kabla hata ya kufungua kuleta wengine.
Tusipuuze utaratibu ambao umewekwa na serikali yetu tukufu. Tusipuuze kana kwamba hakuna janga.
Kolanya Boys High School recently joined a growing list of learning institutions to record coronavirus cases. On Wednesday, Voi Primary School was closed due to COVID-19 infections. Meanwhile, the South Nyanza region is set to benefit from the establishment of an infectious disease center in Nyamira County. The ultra-modern facility will boost the region's effort in combating diseases such as COVID-19. The facility, which is partly financed by the World Bank, is also expected to contribute towards the region's march to universal health coverage.
This unit will not only help strengthen our fight against COVID-19, but also will be of use for posterity against other infectious diseases. Once completed, this will be the biggest infectious disease center in the region.
Beatrice Gatonyengetich, Channel 1 News.
As we speak matters COVID, we cannot forget to look at what is happening within the schools indeed. And our schools in Narrow County are set to receive 9,450 school desks and lockers in a bid to enhance social distancing in the wake of the pandemic. Education PS Belio Kipsang, who was on an inspection tour of learning institutions in Iraq, says the desks will be distributed to 70 secondary schools and 90 primary schools with funds allocated under the economic stimulus program. He added 48 workshops had been contracted by the government to make and supply the desks at an estimated cost of 1.9 billion shillings. This comes as the government announced grade 4 learners and candidates will remain in school, while other learners are to report to school in January 2021.
As from the end of this week going into next week. And those who have delivered and documentations have been done, I can give them the assurance that the resources are available.
Now we focus on matters business, where Kenya's economic and business environment improved significantly in October, with companies hiring more workers as demand for goods and services rose. Now, the monthly Stanbic Bank Kenya's Purchasers Managers Index, that is a PMI survey, reading for October was recorded at 59.1 in October compared to 56.3 a month in September. O'Brien Kimani has more details in regard to that.
The government eased COVID-19 restrictions in the last 2 months as infection numbers dropped. These led to increased economic activities, with companies hiring more workers due to increased orders. The monthly Stanbic Bank Kenya's Purchasing Managers Index PMI survey reading for the month of October was recorded at 59.1, the fastest pace in the survey's history, dating back to 6 years ago, in a bid to meet the rising demand for goods and services. This was mainly due to easing of travel restrictions and reduced curfew hours by the government. The readings have deteriorated in the last 7 months since Kenya recorded its first case of coronavirus in March this year. The monthly PMI report says rising output and order books volumes led companies to raise their staffing levels at the start of the fourth quarter, ending a 7-month sequence of job cuts. The rate of job creation was the strongest in 11 months, according to the report. Though economic activities have been improving in the last 2 months, the future looks uncertain, with the reimposition of tougher COVID-19 restrictions on Wednesday by President Uhuru Kenyatta on account of rising infection cases. Kenya's key export market in Europe, like the United Kingdom and France, have also reissued lockdown measures due to a strong surge in COVID-19 numbers. O'Brien Command for Business, Lunchtime News.
Now, Public Transport Circle Metro Trans has received 45 new buses from Isuzu East Africa with financing from Cooperative Bank in the form of a lease worth 225 million shillings. The circle says the additional vehicles will enable it to respond to increased demand on existing routes.
The Cooperative Bank of Kenya sealed a joint venture deal with leading leasing company Super Group of South Africa that the lender was banking on to tap the growing local leasing business. Through the Coop Bank Fleet Africa Leasing Limited, the strategic partnership offers fleet management and dealerships and innovative leasing solutions. So far, through the deal, the lender has been involved in leasing deals for several government agencies as well as private businesses. The latest is Metro Trans Transport Circle that has acquired 45 new buses from local vehicle assembler Isuzu East Africa. The buses were financed through Coop Bank's leasing arm and will be leased for 4 years, after which they will be sold to individual SACCO members, including drivers.
It's going to give the customer value, and that we will stand with the customer, because this investment is not a small investment. It's an investment of over 230 million shillings. That is big. It's huge.
In addition, the deal is expected to create at least 90 direct jobs and more than 200 indirect jobs.
90 Kenyans will leave this place employed. That's a good thing. And we are in the midst of a pandemic. So I think that is a beautiful thing to say.
We also employ a good number of youth, some of whom have worked so hard and moved from conductors and drivers to become bus owners and are the treasured investors of Metro Trans Cruise app.
The buses will also offer customers the option of cashless payments through the Swivel app that allows users to make and track bookings. Betty Kiptum, Channel 1 Business.
Still keeping up with matters of business, but now focusing on matters of agriculture, is that the new coffee regulations fronted by the Agriculture Ministry have been backed by the Kenya Tea Sector Lobby Group. Now, the lobby group says the regulations would revive the coffee sector through a streamlining management of value chains and weeding out cartels by banning lending of loans to farmers by cooperative societies and marketing agents using coffee as collateral.
The Kenya Tea Sector Lobby Group has thrown its weight behind the Coffee Bill 2020, saying it contains interventions that will make Kenya's coffee globally competitive and increase returns to farmers. The lobby group's chair, Irungu Nyakera, says the coffee industry has suffered similar challenges as those in the tea value chain, including poor yields, low competitiveness, lack of corporate governance in sales and payments, and mismanagement of cooperative societies. In a statement, Nyakera says the proposed Coffee Bill 2020 offers a lifeline to the sector, similar to what the Crop Tea Industry Regulations 2020 did to the tea sector. Coffee is grown in 32 counties, but despite being one of the leading export earners in the 1980s and 1990s, production levels declined from a high of over 130,000 metric tons to the current 750,000 bags per coffee year. Land fragmentation, low productivity and exploitation by middlemen have reduced farmers' earnings significantly. Nyakera says through the Coffee Bill 2020, the Agriculture Ministry seeks to improve the fortunes of the coffee farmer. The new bill proposes establishment of a direct settlement system into which all sale proceeds will be made and payment made directly to farmers. The bill also proposes creation of a government cherry fund to lend to farmers and outlaws marketing agents from lending to farmers, revamping research and extension services aimed at improving farm yields, and creating other government structures to protect coffee farmers from exploitation. Kenya Tea Sector Lobby Group is urging all coffee farmers and stakeholders to submit their views to the Coffee Bill 2020 before the November 18th deadline. Betty Kiptum, Channel 1 Business.
To the corporates, where a recommendation by the government that cereal flour be blended with sorghum as measures to address food nutrition requirements has pushed up demand for the cereal. This has seen the Kenya import sorghum from neighboring countries, with local farmers unable to meet a rising demand. At the same time, paint manufacturer Kansai Polscon has rolled out a campaign aimed at encouraging the use of environmentally friendly paints in the Kenyan market.
Paint manufacturer Kansai Polscon has rolled out a campaign aimed at encouraging the use of environmentally friendly paints in the Kenyan market. Kansai Polscon Managing Director Jamil Avirji says the exercise that will cost 150 million shillings aims at cushioning Kenyans from the negative economic impact of COVID-19 pandemic by offering cashbacks to customers who use their products.
This is going to be one of the biggest promotions ever done in the history of our company and probably in the paint industry. We've set aside a whopping 150 million shillings for this promotion.
Meanwhile, the Kenya Agricultural and Livestock Research Organization says the annual sorghum production stands at 206,000 metric tons against a demand of 270,000. The research institution is training farmers in 10 counties, among them West Pokot, Kericho and Baringo, on better ways of producing sorghum.
There's a deficit of about 70,000 metric tons. And we expect that gap to grow unless we use modern methods of farming, sorghum, unless we use modern varieties that have been developed that are high yielding, unless we reduce post-harvest losses.
Finally, Safaricom has rolled out a new phone number prefixes starting with 0112, 0113, 0114 and 0115 as demand for new lines increases, driven by new mobile data customers. The launch of the new numbers comes hot on heels of the 0110 and 0111 prefixes introduced in February 2020. The telco began operations 20 years ago with 17,000 customers, which have grown to more than 35 million today.
Across the globe, is that U.S. stock markets have recorded their biggest post-election leap in decades, despite continuing uncertainty over which candidate will win the presidential race. Shares rallied as investors bet the closer-than-expected results reduce the chance of big changes for business. Now, tech and health firms are now seen as less likely to face new regulation-led gains. Details of this and our stories from our Global Business News Roundup.
Facebook shares rose more than 8%, while several major health insurance firms saw double-digit jumps. The Dow closed up more than 1.3%, while the wider S&P 500 climbed 2.2%. The tech-heavy Nasdaq gained nearly 3.9%, with millions of votes still to be counted. Incumbent President Donald Trump and his challenger Democrat Joe Biden are neck and neck in key swing states. But early predictions of a possible early landslide win for Biden and his party in Congress failed to materialize. The gains in the S&P 500 and the Dow were the biggest for a single day following a presidential election in at least 4 decades. Indexes in Europe closed higher too, climbing back after a sharp fall following incumbent President Donald Trump's premature victory speech. Elsewhere, Indonesia has fallen into its first recession in 22 years as the coronavirus pandemic continues to take its toll. Southeast Asia's biggest economy saw growth fall 3.49% in the third quarter of the year compared to the same period in 2019. Following a fall of 5.32% in the second quarter of 2020, this has pushed Indonesia into a recession. The last time this happened was during the 1998 Asian financial crisis. Authorities in Indonesia have predicted that 3.5 million people could lose their jobs due to the coronavirus downturn. Indonesia has the highest infection rate in the region. And the Bank of England will pump an extra £150 billion into the economy as it warned the resurgence of COVID-19 will lead to a slower, bumpier recovery. Tighter lockdown rules, including new restrictions in England, are expected to push the UK into another downturn. The Bank of England believes unemployment will rise sharply as the government support schemes wind down. Policymakers also kept interest rates on a hold at a record low of 0.1%. The bank expects the UK economy to shrink 2% in the final 3 months of 2020 before bouncing back at the start of 2021. It does not expect the UK economy to get back to its pre-virus size until 2022.
Into the sporting arena, where Manchester United manager Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has criticised his side's defending following a disastrous 2-1 defeat away to Turkish side Başak Şehir, but laughed off suggestions that his job was under threat. Now, meanwhile, Timo Werner netted twice from the spot as Chelsea thrashed French side Rennes at Stamford Bridge 3-0.
Symbolic instinctive header pulled one back before the break.
Luke Shaw's cross and the downward header is in. Anthony Martial has pulled one back for Manchester United and put a different complexion on the half-time team talks.
But it failed to inspire a second half comeback with the start.
We did everything wrong. The intensity was not good since the beginning of the game. They found the goal early, and after the game was complicated for us. We tried until the end, but the problem was, I think we come later to the game.
You don't mind if a team has to work really hard and outplay you, but when you give soft goals away, that's very disappointing because we know how hard it is to create goals yourself and chances. Then again, good response, good goal by Anthony, and then we thought second half we could put more pressure on them, but we didn't create enough.
In the other Group H match, RB Leipzig recorded their second victory after beating Paris Saint-Germain 2-1 in Germany.
The pullback here for Angelino's benefit, sets up on Kunku. He'll fancy this and buries this. Here comes Emil Forsberg, up he comes and he buries it.
Elsewhere, Chelsea made it 3 wins out of 3 matches after thrashing Reims 3-0 at Stamford Bridge. 2 first-half penalties from Germany international Timo Werner put the host ahead in the first half.
Goes, and he lifts this one into the same corner. And it is 2-0, 2 spot kicks.
With Tammy Abraham sealing the win in the second half.
James, for Abraham. Tammy Abraham is on the spot. And this time they couldn't cut out the cross. And inevitably, really, from that point onwards, the prize of the 3 points go to Frank Lampard.
Now that puts a cap on Matters Lunchtime News this afternoon, and some of the developing stories that we were keeping focus on is what is happening across, Ethiopia as well as Tanzania. Just some few minutes or hours ago, Tanzanian President John Pombe Magufuli was sworn in office for another 5-year term. This is after beating his main challenger Tundu Lissu with 84% of the votes cast. And talking about elections, the world is keenly focusing on what is happening in the U.S. elections with the current statistics indicating that Democratic Party candidate Joe Biden is in the lead with 264 electoral college votes against incumbent Donald Trump 214. Now, all eyes are on the swing states that include Pennsylvania, Georgia, as well as Nevada. We'll be keeping you posted with any developments in regards to the U.S. elections 2020, and for the further details in regard to stories that we have highlighted for you, Matters Business, what is happening in the local political scene, regionally, as well as Matters Sports. You can all find this available on our website, that is www.kbc.co.ke. For every person who made this particular broadcast possible, thank you very much, including my sign language interpreter there, that is Lancer Ondingo. I'm Regina Manyara. I wish you a great afternoon ahead.
Vera Beauty College. Vera Beauty and Fashion College, with branches in Nairobi, Eldoret, Thika, and Meru. Did you know that we are a TVET approved institution? We offer courses in fashion design, interior design and soft furnishing, event decoration, flower arrangement, event planning, hairdressing, barbering and dreadlocks, beauty therapy, makeup, nail technology, spa massages, teaching skills, TOT, solo business management, and many more. Register now and visit our website on www.verabeautycollege.com. You can also call on 0725 923 550 Nairobi branch, 0728 087 689 Eldoret branch, 0722 22 7428 Thika branch, 0725 000 706 Meru branch. Vera Beauty and Fashion College, a TVET approved institution.
Tonight on KBC Channel 1 for a program that is objective and offers answers to matters economic, security, social, political, food, infrastructure, and setting the agenda. Join us for Charging Currents.
President Uhuru Kenyatta outlined his vision for the country, a vision of development and economic growth for the benefit of every Mwananchi. Every week on Project 254, we highlight the strides that have been made in improving the lives of millions of Kenyans. Every Thursday at 8:30 p.m.
on the next episode of
Tushamalizana?
Tushamalizana?
Ah, sino mimi namueleza mzee kukodisha suti ndio hiyo. Mimi nakwambia jana ungeniona yani nilipokuwa naipiga mwenyewe nilikuwa nimeng'ara kitu kuruka.
Sijui shetani gani huyu? Samee. Shika.
When the world changed, it made us go back to the simple joys and love the little things even more, like serving up your best, eating together, and sharing more. Now, we'll take nothing for granted and always remember to taste the simple joys. Coca-Cola. Taste the simple joys.
J'ai vu les gens mourir. Deux messieurs qui étaient tombés parce qu'on les a piétinés, qui voulaient voir Franco et qui voulaient même toucher Franco.
Mais quand il a grandi, il a pris sa forme. Il était devenu dangereux.
Mon but, mon souhait, c'est que Franco puisse être un des Mozart de la musique africaine.
The majestic rhythms and beats of Tout Puissant OK Jazz. For decades, one of the greatest bands in the democratic